Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and today I want to talk about Stellaris. Now, Stellaris is a year old. It's been out for a year, it's been tweaked and modified, and since then there's been a lot of changes, many of them incompatible with older games. So yeah, let's talk about things. If you remember, I last played the game as the Igarian Republica, Xenophile's spiritualist empire. This is no longer compatible with the existing system because you have to have at least 3 points in your different civilization, government ethics. So yeah, but nowadays we have many new options. So I have here the Sarlacc. They are a collective consciousness. They are a hive mind, which you spend all your civics on the hive mind. It also includes the devouring swarm, where they basically want to eat everything in the galaxy. They also have one mind. They are united in their awesomeness. There's many other options that have been added to the game. So I'm going to be clear, actually, the hive mind is a feature which was added in 1.5, and you need to own the Utopia expansion for that. There's also fanatical purifiers who basically want to cleanse the galaxy of all alien scum. So if you want to play the Imperium of Man in Warhammer 40k, that's the way to go. Again, that's part of the Utopia expansion. But there's a lot of other variations, you know, in styles: materialist, egalitarian, fanatic. All these options, they all lead to many different play styles. So there's a lot of fun ways to play the game. Actually, if I go and we just go to edit, I can show you some of the options. In terms of appearance, it's worth noting that Plantoid was added as an optional DLC. I think it cost $10. Probably not worth it, but you know, if you want absolutely all the DLC and you want to look like space plants, then this is a cool option, cool way to go. With the anniversary, by the way, last week, they released the Anniversary Portrait Pack, which added things like space dragons and space peacocks, which would be great if you want to play a psionic, psychic race that is perhaps going to read your mind. I think I'm going to go with that instead. There's the government and ethics. Yeah, there's a bunch of different options here in terms of, if you want to be fanatical purifiers, you need to be a fanatical xenophobe, and then somewhere down here you get the option to become fanatic purifiers, who will basically have the option to perform Armageddon bombardment, basically glass a planet from orbit. Well, I don't know, maybe it's not that, but they can certainly bomb planets back to the Stone Age before they eliminate everyone. Other new options that were added with Utopia were Syncretic Evolution. That's where you can have a second species on your home planet. The second species will be different. They will be potentially a slave race. So you could have, for example, intelligent apes with humans as their slaves, if you wanted to go that way. And at the other end, I believe there's Mechanist somewhere. There's I don't know, somewhere around here you have that option. Yeah, Mechanist, they start with robots, and they also get some other options. But yeah, so you can start out with fanatic robot fans, and that's a cool way to do the things. So I'm going to just go back and not save this change. Let's play as the Sarlacc. For the reason that I don't have to deal with diplomacy, we're going to select them and we are going to play. So yeah, the game was originally released, and then maybe a month later, less than a month later, they had the first major update, the Clark update. The updates are named after sci-fi authors. So yeah, here we go. And so at the dawn of time we awoke. The mind studied our surroundings on Rayab Orphe with a multitude of eyes. We moved as one, building shelters for the drones, developing industry, researching new technologies, and harnessing the resources of the land. Soon we had grown to encompass the entire world. A small number of autonomous drones were created to serve as independent agents. These more formidable drones had the capacity for limited free thought, but were still as inexorably bound to the will of the mind as to any of its other instruments. As we achieved complete dominion over Rayab Orphe, the mind became aware of other worlds, orbiting other suns. The most intelligent of our autonomous drones devised new methods of travel, enabling us to cross the vast distances between the stars. The Sarlacc will soon grow. Begin. And we will begin. We will start by exploring our home system. Survey the system. And we will start by building another science ship, because I like science ships in the early game. We will start researching things, physics labs, and biolabs, and ion thrusters, or oh, these are all interesting. Engineering facility, there we go. Time is a-running. And let's take a look at the surface of our world. What should we unlock? I'm going to clear this tile blocker first, because it would be good to have more power available when the time comes. Power is a good thing. So, one of the changes with the recent 1.5 Banks update is that food is no longer on a per planet basis. It's now a species-wide, empire-wide thing, which does reduce the amount of micromanagement that you have to do. Okay, science ship. Let's assign a leader to this. We need to recruit a new leader, spending some influence. He's cheap to yeah. Let's take a look at research scientists. This guy, statecraft. Okay, fields. Okay, I don't want to waste any of these guys. So, leaders. I want to recruit a new one. I'll just take this guy. He's eager. He's young. But if I had some computing research, I could put him on it. That's the other option. I'll recruit him. So you're going to be flying around space, but you're not going to be using your primary skills. You'll be wanting to be in a lab at home, researching that kind of thing. Okay, time is running once again. We are in this large galaxy looking around for things. And we will hopefully be looking around for sweet, tasty things. So yeah, Clark was the first release. It was mostly a balance patch, and I don't know, it was kind of minimal, but it added a few bits and pieces here and there. But the first real change, I think, was Asimov. Asimov redid a lot of diplomacy, and it made it possible to do a lot more in terms of diplomacy. Now, the game isn't the greatest in terms of diplomacy right now. There are other 4Xs with better diplomacy. It's certainly not competing with Crusader Kings, for example, in terms of awesomeness. But yeah, it's good to have. So what I'm doing here is I split up my war fleet into corvettes, and I'm sending them around a bunch of local planets to make sure that if they encounter anything, they will not... They won't kill my precious scientists. So I'm sending these guys to evasive so that they will run away at the first sight of anything. This is just kind of insurance to make sure that I won't get into any trouble and lose my expensive scientists that take a long time to replace. Corvettes are cheap. Corvettes are nice to have. Oh yeah, we got a couple of black holes here. Sometimes you find scary stuff in black holes, but more on that later. Yeah, I think we'll do that and then bring them back home. Wow, we're going to be able to explore in all sorts of directions. Rundor, Wedgie, Tile, Egglomania. Oh, this guy isn't researching. Go and survey that system. Thank you. Okay, now we'll run time again. Here. On and on and on. So, you know, the early game is you want to get a nice foothold. You want to make sure that you're going to figure out whether you want to play wide or tall. Wide is basically spreading out across the galaxy, trying to take as much territory as possible, and tall is obviously focusing on a small corner and trying to maximize what you have. We've encountered alien vessels, Alpha Aliens. It did not take long for the Sarlacc to come across intelligent alien life. The fleet's report to the Zepdragon capital somewhat understates just how these alien forces appear, and only in passing mentions the failure to open comms. Because we are just looking for food. So we're running away from this hostile fleet. Let's take a look at it. Ooh, I think that is just an intelligent void cloud. Which is fine. Nice to know that it's there so we didn't send our scientists straight into it. Ah, so our construction ship now has some stuff to do. We can start building things here. We'll build a mining station, and, well, when we get our mining station, we'll build more. So yeah, power is basically money. Minerals are minerals, food is food, kind of obvious. Influence is used for certain political options, and Unity is a new current that's been added in 1.5, and we'll talk more about that later. So yeah, after Asimov, which was released in late June, it would be until October when we had a big update, and that was Leviathans. That was the Heinlein update, which was released at the same time as the Leviathan Story Pack, which was a $10 DLC that added many new kind of story events. We now know without a doubt that thriving biosphere is not something unique. Let's go and explore habitable worlds, because we are going to be looking for habitable worlds. We do want to expand outwards. Leviathans, so Heinlein added a few things, but Leviathan's the story pack. It added kind of boss monsters was one thing. It added these giant creatures that you would find in deep space. Some of them would be just straight up hostile, like the Stellar Devourer. There would be the Dimensional Horror. These would be insanely powerful things that if you destroyed them, you got some big bonus. There were also other things such as the Enigmatic Fortress, which there were other more subtle ways into, and the Mysterious Sphere. Anyway, we've encountered some form of alien vessels in the Carenza system. We should proceed with caution. Let's go and take a look at these. Alien vessels, let's look at it.
Evading hostile fleet.
Yeah, come on, let's take a look. I want to take a look before we run away. What is this? You see, the symbol doesn't really map. Oh, these are space whales. And then we have gamma aliens as well now as well. Crikey. There's a lot going on. So this is good, because it means we haven't sent our expensive scientists in to look at them. Alien vessels, alien vessels. We haven't encountered any of these boss monsters, which would be nice. Sometimes you see these things and they're cool. Leviathans also added the War in Heaven, which
System
is
survey complete. Anomaly found.
is basically where, I'm going to leave that for now. The War in Heaven is where two fallen empires wake up and decide, you know what, we would like to have a big fight for the galaxy. And they will recruit the smaller empires to kind of do their bidding and join their team. And that's nice in theory. It's like the story behind Babylon 5 if you think about it. But it does have many downsides. It never has quite worked for me. It definitely needs a bit of adjustment. And another downside to it is, since the Fallen Empires all use jump drives, it kind of makes the jump drive counter go up very quickly, and that kind of guarantees that the unbidden will be the main end game crisis that happens. Okay, a construction ship has finished doing what it does. Let's start getting some money here. We're going to build a mining station. So, far from ideal, but all the same, you know, it can lead to some really good stories. And Stellaris is a Paradox game. Paradox games can have some amazing stories. Okay, that's a nice desert world to go to. I think that might be our option. Oh, although this is a good system to have, even though, so we have 3 planets in it. We can only colonize 1 right now, but eventually, ooh. Our first stumbling steps into the void beyond Rayab Ophi were not motivated solely by curiosity. The biosphere has undergone rapid changes in the past few centuries. Our research plans, basically, we are worried that we're worried about planet-bound catastrophes. Okay, mass extinction through the ages.
Updated.
You can read all that if you want. Okay, I'm going to survey this system. Okay, so yeah, other features that were added in Leviathan are the collectives. These are kind of not species that are out there expanding. They're species that have nice little corners of the galaxy. Some are traders, some are artists, and others are scientists. And these are kind of nice because they will talk to you and they will trade with you. They will help you with your science. So many options to change the way and to exploit exploit these guys for your own gain. Nice to know that all my spacecraft have survived, because sometimes they die. Sometimes I have them left to...
Evading hostile fleet.
That's not good. Oh, that's these ones. These are the space whales. We don't know if they're good or bad right now, so we're kind of freaked out by them. But I'm definitely going to have to colonize that system at some point.
Construction complete.
Okay, good. Construction ship is all done. We can send it over here. Allegedly, this planet's flora and fauna choked on their own poisonous emissions, likely helped along by the release of reactive gases from beneath the planet's crust. Special project has been issued to investigate the matter.
Situation log updated.
Oh! And that's my own fleet. That's cool. Oh, we found Arid World. That's nice. Arid World. So this is a potential... Oh, wow! Look, we've got a ton of these around here. We'll be able to terraform them. So I need to make sure that nobody comes down here. There's a lot of planets out that way. It'd be nice to have some desert world, but, you know, that's all good. Yeah, I think this one has 21. We don't know how many. Oh, that has 18. I think I'll get this one first. Okay, so we'll wait. Actually, we'll send the construction ship to build a mining station here. Actually, let's cancel that for now. The reason being that I have Unity. And Unity is increasing. We're going to get there in 3 months, and I'll be able to save a lot of Unity, or a lot of minerals by using this correctly. How's Rayab Ophi doing? We've got a new thing there. Let's build a power plant here, because we'll be able to use that at some point. You can return home, and you can return... Oh, yeah, actually, you're not ready to return home just yet. But we found, you know, some potential threats down this way, and we'll deal with them. One of the planets circling the star beams the still open wound, or bears the still open wounds of some past calamity. Its surface is a rolling sea of half-melted minerals, boiling into a superheated atmosphere. But Zepadrogan astronomers claim that it may once have supported life. A special project has been issued to study the Molten planet. Now, this might be a mod. I'm not actually clear. There's a lot of stories in the game now, a lot of events that are like this. But a lot of mods are adding new stories to the game as well, so that's kind of a cool thing to have. Oh, so here we have traditions. This is a new feature which was added in 1.5, right? So this is Unity. Unity is supposed to be a resource which you gain by having a happy, small, tight group, you know, empire, basically. It's supposed to help you play tall with a small number of planets. The cost to unlock traditions gets higher the more planets, the more people, the larger your population. And they're basically like species-wide, empire-wide perks that let you do things. So, for example, by adopting prosperity, which is what I'm going to do, it reduces my mining station build cost by 33. And after I do that, I can then unlock, as time goes on, as I get more Unity, I can unlock these other things. They're all kind of, you know, cost-related. So Transstellar corporations will let me build a private colony ship, which costs energy, costs money, rather than minerals. So that's actually one nice option. You have the option of spending energy rather than minerals, and that can be very useful in the early game. Once you complete this, these are traditions, which is kind of interesting because traditions you would think you would have at the start of the game, but actually during the game you unlock more traditions. Once you get through this, you get Ascension Perks. Now, Ascension Perks are only available if you have Utopia, the Utopia DLC. And they involve things like getting the ability to build megastructures like habitats, ring worlds, Dyson spheres. There are Ascension Perks, such as... they're basically new Ascension pathways, such as, you know, becoming biologically tuned and adjusting your genetic makeup and everything. There's a psionic pathway that lets you become super powerful in terms of your psionic capabilities and reaching into the Shroud, which is a mysterious other dimension where super powerful agents exist, and you can sometimes get them to come through and join your fleets, join your armies, and sometimes they'll just come through and eventually, you know, eradicate everyone in your worlds. On the mechanized side, on the technology side, you can become cyborgs. You can eventually convert your species over to robots. The flesh is weak, and you can just leave it behind. Of course, that really freaks out spiritualist empires that basically equate that to mass suicide. Yeah, so there's a lot of options here that adjust the way that you want to play the game. It's kind of good. I'm going to take prosperity, because now that means that my construction ships that I sent over there, if you remember, now it can build this, and it's only going to cost it 60. So I waited 3 months, and I saved some minerals, and the cost of having this has been offset. So that's all good. So yeah, that was something that came with 1.5. Now, I've talked about Leviathans, and we've talked about 1.5. In between, there was an expansion called Kennedy. Now, you probably can't think of a sci-fi author with the name Kennedy. That's because it's named after Alexis Kennedy, who has written for games like Sunless Sea.
System survey
The idea
complete.
of 1.4 was to add a story, a very deep sci-fi story to this game. It's called Horizon Signal, and it's really interesting. There's a really interesting blog post by Alexis on how you write a sci-fi story that works for every possible species in the game. They have to be careful about referring to like gender and species, right? So what was added was the Horizon Signal. You basically find it in a black hole. You start getting messages from future versions of your civilization, and then things get really weird. And it's a fantastic thing to experience for the first time in the game, so I don't want to spoil it for you. Because yeah, it's special. It's really quite it's really wonderful to experience. I built that a little early, but I'll put these guys here and they'll enjoy it when it finally works out. So that's great. It was wonderful to experience it. However, it did get broken when they released 1.5, and you needed a mod to fix it for a long time. Rather disappointing, but thankfully, just last week, 1.6 Adams was released. It was a small update that did add a few new features that they'd wanted to have in the Utopia release, but they didn't quite get in there in time. So it was named after Douglas Adams, of course. They added a couple of new civics types. They added, yes, the Devouring Swarm option, and they added I'm trying to remember what they added, but what they also added was the ability to find old, wrecked megastructures like ring worlds and Dyson spheres and repair them. So that was a whole new set of options. Oh, life signs have been detected. Let's research this. 20% chance of failure, though. I don't know, that's kind of scary. Should I go for it? Who knows? I'm now starting to get a lot of minerals. I'm wondering whether I should focus on expanding my stuff with minerals and then get this expansion here, get the Unity option, and then use a colony ship that's private out of energy. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go over to Runador and build a oh, not there. I want to build a mining station. We can get the research stations later. Atmospheric ecosystem. We have discovered a thriving ecosystem in the upper atmosphere of the gas giant Shrink 2. Massive floating creatures have evolved bodies filled with lighter than air gases. That's kind of cool. And so we get more science from that place. Unfortunately, it's just slightly beyond our borders at this time, so we can't really get that.
System survey complete.
The only problem with the 1.6 release was apparently it really broke pacifism. It made every empire convert to pacifism. No one was declaring wars, and the games were kind of stuck. Thankfully, they just pushed out a temporary patch, or a beta patch, to fix that, and a few other features, and everybody's enjoying it, I guess. So it's right now we have the Paradox convention, PDX Con. It's off in they're in Sweden or whatever, and they're having big parties to celebrate the awesomeness of Paradox games, and I'm a big fan of Paradox games. I like to say that Paradox doesn't really make games. What they make is platforms at their best. I mean, they make games, obviously, but they're self-published grand strategy games, like Europa Universalis and Crusader Kings. They kind of turn into these big platforms supporting lots of DLC, lots of mods. They play for years. Crusader Kings just celebrated its 5th birthday in February, and it has tons of DLC, it has so many options, it's so many ways to play the game, and you tell great stories out of that. And Stellaris, I hope it continues like that. I hope it grows and gets more options, more mods. I'm gonna leave B for now because 50 or 40% chance of failure is not good. Okay, these guys are all back home. We should join them all up. Come on, get together. Yes, there we go. All the fleets join into one. Transfer all. We've got the third. We should probably get a leader for this, because at some point we're going to need to fight against pirates. Unless, of course, pirates don't spawn for hive minds. I should think about that.
Construction complete.
Combat speed. Yeah, let's recruit that. I'm a trickster, and he is going to be, or he, she, it is going to be part of. Is going to be my controller, my commander for this fleet. There we go. Oh, Ouija 2. Ouija 2 is a desert world, and we're going to colonize it, so there's no point in doing that, but we will build a mining station here. This is a system that this is probably the one we want to colonize. Oh, actually, no, I think this is the one we want to colonize because it's slightly bigger. But we'll colonize this one because the core worlds count is actually core systems. So if you have 3 planets in a system, it only counts as 1 point on this. I know a lot of people complain about that, but yeah, that's how that works. Science, science, science. Okay.
System survey complete.
And the system survey is complete. The science ship needs to do something else. Yeah, let's explore these.
System survey complete.
Well, if I colonize this one might come within range, so we'll survey that so that we can jump on it. Yeah, so Stellaris, as I said, I really like it to grow like that. I loved some of the stories that I've told. There was one, the game that I played straight after the update, the Utopia update. I was a mechanized race. We started with robots and we just played with that theme the whole time. We grew tall. We had only a very small corner of the galaxy, but because I had kind of a good makeup, I was eventually managing like 15 planets as core systems. I found an alien race that had suffered some catastrophe but had uploaded their brains to computers, even although they didn't have the technology to put their brains into any... They couldn't do anything with them. They couldn't run an emulation of their life. So we found these, and then a nearby xenophile Fallen Empire was like, oh, that's awesome, you should give us those. And they actually took those species and put them into their empire. But later on, I developed synths, droids, and I was able to upload the brains into my own droids, and so they became part of my empire and they helped me expand. And later on, yeah, we did the whole cybernetic conversion, and then we converted ultimately to full-on synthetic empire, and from that point we just started expanding across the galaxy. Our technology was so far in advance of everyone else that we were able to field very powerful fleets. When the Unbidden finally came a-calling, we were able to eliminate them with giant battleships filled with spinal mount giga cannons. We eliminated the other empires, we squeezed them into their corner and eventually won the game. But you don't have to win the game to have fun. We've detected the presence of primitive alien civilization. Ha! Poor. Those guys are unfortunately going to have... They are not going to last. Yeah, so... Where is it? Here? Yeah, no. Here? Here? Where did we find them? I wasn't paying attention. Oh, here. Yes, Zeldrath. Yeah, you guys, you are going to be dinner at some point. Yeah, I hope you're tasty. It's mushrooms for dinner. Oh, wait, I'm mushrooms. Can mushrooms eat mushrooms? I'm presuming they can. Biology and all that. Mushrooms are pretty adaptable when it comes to eating things. Research complete. New research. Geothermal fracking. I'm going to do that. So I'm actually very close to being able to build a spaceport, but actually I'm going to upgrade this to... What do I need? Engineering. Let's do engineering. Yeah, I'm getting pretty close to being able to build a colony ship, but equally, I'm 7 months away from having transstellar corporations, and I think that's the way I'll go, because then I can spend my minerals on building warships, which if the pirate event fires, because I think you get pirates immediately after your first colony, you're going to need lots of spaceships to fight those. So that's a better option to go with in my mind. However, I could be completely wrong about that.
Research complete.
Oh, more research. Excellent. New research. Field modulation. Power plant 2. Yeah. Or deflector fields. I'm going to go with deflector fields because this guy has a bonus to studying these this kind of technology. It's a shame I haven't encountered any other aliens. It looks like I'm going to have a lot of space to expand, so I guess playing tall isn't going to be my option. And with all these green planets here, I'm going to be able to terraform them. I'm going to be able to colonize them and eventually terraform them. So I'll be able to expand wide really fast and become that devouring swarm that the name suggests. So yeah, this has been a very long look. I'm not sure I'm going to continue this game. It might be a good idea, it might not, but I just wanted to give you an idea on where we are with the Stellaris universe. It's not the only 4X game available. It is a very paradox style 4X game. There are other 4X games with better presentation in some ways. You know, many have like nice cutscenes and voice overs and things like that. There's Master of Orion, there's Galactic Civilizations 3, which just had another big expansion on its own. There's Endless Space 2. These are all alternate options if you don't feel that Stellaris is for you. But I enjoy it. I think there's a lot to do in the game, even although you do sometimes find yourself getting into mid-game moments where there's not much going on. But I think that's a great option. And by the way, it is in the Humble Bundle subscription, which means you pay $12 a month or whatever and you get a bundle of games. If you pay the $12 now, you get it right away, so you can buy it cheap, and then you can go and look at their sale on their DLC. Although the DLC doesn't go on sale typically for a long time. So like, I think you can get Leviathans cheap, but you'll have to wait for Utopia probably until Christmas. Anyway, yeah, I love Stellaris. It's not the only option out there, but it gives me some great stories, and it's nice to pop in. And yeah, look, I'm getting my private colony ship, and I shall expand this far and wide. And maybe I'll play more, maybe not. But until then, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.